I'm on my way back to Northfield Park to race tonight. I talked about what I did today and what I'm doing tomorrow, but this video isn't really time sensitive. This video isn't meant to be time specific. It's a message to everybody out there, right? Lexington is coming up, and I have reached out to a lot of our stakeholders. Many of you have gotten emails or calls from me just wondering what your thoughts were on Lexington, and predominantly people wanted to make sure it was affordable to get involved, wanted to make sure they got the quality of the horses they're used to getting in Lexington, and everybody seemed to have roughly the same idea. So what I had constructed was quite simple. Two of what I call the flyer buckets. Now you can call them a flashier name if you want. At the end of the day, this is me looking at my catalog, or my iPad in this case, and I've marked, and I will have marked well over 200 horses in that sale. There are horses I just turned the page. I'm not that interested in that sire. I know this line. I don't want to go down that road. Maybe the horse stood off. Maybe the horse just didn't present well. There's a number of reasons where I would turn the page on a horse, but there's a lot of horses that will have marked. I would say between 2 and maybe even close to 300 horses. A good third of the sale will have a price tag on them in my iPad. Now, the same way we bought Rico Tubbs last year, the same way we bought Tactical Mounts, the way we bought her, the same way we bought, as Amy said, Jolene Hall last year also. These are horses that I have a price tag, and for some reason on that board right before the hammer's dropping or during the bidding, it becomes very obvious that this horse is what I would consider, my personal opinion, somewhere between highly and grossly undervalued. And I have to take just a quick blink of an eye, look at the horse, say, I had priced this horse at X. This horse is at 30 or 40% of X, and bid. And that is how most of our horses are purchased, but it's most definitely how I would categorize the flyers, right? The horses that I say, that horse is worth more than we just bought it for. And that's how those flyer buckets are always made, right? The main bucket is a horse like Jailbird Jog and Degas, where I knew they're worth 50 or 60,000, and that's what we paid for them. I was happy to. I really liked the horse, and I was okay to go to that mark where I believe that horse's value was worth. So the way I constructed the buckets this year, I'm going to leave the standalone pacer and trotter as is. I'm going to allow people to send me an email, send me a message, hey Anthony, I would like to be involved in that higher end trotter or pacer, because we have a certain clientele that is involved and does want to be involved again this year in that type of horse. They're going to be standalones. I'm going to have the main bucket, which is going to be the horses that I say are worth $30, $40, $50, $60,000, and that's almost where that price tag is. I think we're going to have a trotting fillies bucket because they seem to be the most sought after. And the ones that always interest me the most are the ones that I think are deep value purchases, those flyer bucket horses. I'm going to make 2 buckets. They're going to be the exact same. They're both going to be $50,000. I'm going to call them Bucket A and Bucket B. Now, you may ask yourself what would differentiate the two? Nothing. I just thought it was better to say I'm going to spend up to $50,000 on 2 or 3 horses and put them in a bucket than say I'm going to spend up to $100,000 on 4 to 6 horses, because the biggest complaint we always got, the biggest concern, the biggest question, the biggest remark, the biggest comments we always got were, I know buying the horse, that's fine, it's the bills that come after, right? So if I'm expecting to buy 2 or 3 horses and you go and buy 5, I'm excited because I like the horses you bought, but I also know I'm now paying 5 bills and not 2 or 3. So down the path of being financially responsible to you, our clients, I thought for the people that want to have a piece of all 6 of those horses, potentially 4 to 6 of them, well, you can buy a share in both buckets. You can buy a share in one, you can buy multiple shares, and you can buy whatever you want. But I do want to reach out to everybody, and I think I'll start with this email and this video, if you don't mind. Reach out to you and say, hey, would you like to be involved? I'm going to be completely upfront with everybody. If I can fully subscribe the flyer buckets, a good portion of the main bucket, and I already know the Trotting Fillies bucket will fully subscribe before we get to Harrisburg. If I can do that, God, my my job will be so much easier. So my question to you, my request of you, do you want to be a part of the Flyer Bucket? We're going to have 2 buckets at $50,000 each. They're going to be Flyer Bucket A and B. And as we drive down the road, as you sit there and listen to this video, there is nothing that will differentiate the two. Only I thought it was more responsible to make it easy for everybody to get involved with both or either bucket. And as usual, before any of these horses are listed for sale publicly, if you are any of the bucket holders, you own any of the buckets, you'll have first choice to buy into any whatever remaining shares are available of any of the horses we purchase in Lexington. If everything goes our way, I fully expect we will have a high-end pacer, a high-end trotter. The main bucket will be subscribed by the end of the sale for sure. The Phillies bucket will be absolutely subscribed before we even get to Harrisburg. And the main bucket, I would say, would be mostly subscribed. That would be 4 or 5. Is it 3 or 4 or 4 or 5? 3 or 4 for the main bucket. I think 3 or 4. 3 or 4 horses, and I think the bucket came out to what, 150,000. Does that make sense? That's the bucket that's going to be a little slower moving, and I know that. I know that going in, and I'm okay with it.
Are you going? I should have asked you this before. Are you going to say like New York, New Jersey, PA?
No. I'm not going to do that. I am going to find, there's somebody who just messaged me, can I have a share in the higher trotter bucket? So I am going to find the best value I can for our clients. If you don't want to own that horse, surely if we buy 3 horses in bucket A and 3 in bucket B, and you say, Anthony, I like 1 of the horses in bucket A and 2 of the horses in bucket B, I'm sure between sale conclusion and long before we ever have to get licensed, you'll have more than ample opportunity to sell that share. I'm confident in saying that. If I do my job right, you shouldn't have a problem doing that. But this is all about convenience. This is all about affordability. Value, as we're always looking for. But it's always about you. So what I'm looking for, quite frankly, is 100 or 50 people to populate and subscribe to the 2 Flyer buckets. That would make my job so much easier. So that's my request to you. It's my proposal to you. Please let me know if you have any interest. Take care.